This video is brought to you by True Tales of Buried Treasure, the largest collection of old treasure magazines in the West. On our website, you can search for individual treasure stories by region, or buy our original magazines themselves. To pay us a visit, please click on the link in the description. Enjoy. For over 130 years, treasure hunters have searched the rugged mountain ranges east and northeast of Yuma, Arizona, for the elusive Frenchman's lost diggings. These mountains include the Eagle Tails, Harquahala, Little Harquahala, Kofa, Castle Dome, Little Horns, Tank, and Palomas ranges. An 1892 article in the Yuma Sentinel recounts the brief yet lively visit of three Frenchmen to Yuma. They made quite the impression, treating locals to drinks in every saloon they visited. But their time in town was short-lived. The next morning, they stocked up on supplies and food for a long desert journey, loaded their mules, and headed east along the stage road that followed the Gila River. They camped that night at Agua Caliente, a well-known stage stop of the era. Unbeknownst to them, or perhaps entirely expected, 5 Mexicans were trailing them and also set up camp nearby. At dawn, the Frenchmen headed north into the Palomas Plain toward the Eagle Tail Mountains. But instead of continuing on, they cleverly doubled back, catching the Mexicans off guard in a face-to-face encounter. That night, both parties once again camped at Agua Caliente. By morning, however, the Frenchmen had vanished. They slipped away during the night and were never seen in Yuma again. Nor did they ever return to claim what many believed to be a fortune in gold. In the years that followed, countless prospectors launched expeditions from Yuma in hopes of finding the Frenchman's lost mine. Yet, its location remained a mystery. Then, in the 1870s, the remains of 3 unidentified men were found east of the Little Horn Mountains. They were buried in a spot that came to be known as Cemetery Ridge. For months after the discovery, the old-timers of Yuma, especially those who spent their days on the bench outside Hooper and Company, debated whether these were the Frenchmen, and more importantly, where their lost diggings might be. When a rich gold discovery was made in Harquahala in 1888, many were convinced the mystery had finally been solved. There were signs that the area had been worked before, and it was just north of the Eagle Tails, the same region where the Frenchman had last been seen. But not everyone was convinced. One dissenting voice was that of Fred Naughtonbush, who believed the real diggings were elsewhere. He opened a store at Palomas, east of Yuma, positioning himself near the presumed location of the treasure. Despite years of searching, Naughtonbush never found the gold. His only lasting legacy in the area was a couple of misspelled landmarks, Knotbush Valley and Knotbush Butte, located east of the Little Horns in the Cemetery Hills. Over time, many mountain ranges have been suspected of hiding the Frenchman's gold. These include the Little Horns, Kofa, Sheep Tanks, Harquahala, Little Harquahala, Eagle Tails, Tank Mountains, and Castle Dome Mountains. Of particular interest are the Tank Mountains, just south of Castle Dome. While they produced only modest amounts of lode gold, coarse placer gold was discovered there in the early 1870s at the Puzzles Claim, located at the eastern foot of the range. The size and coarseness of the gold suggest a nearby source, but no vein has ever been found. Could this be the site of the Frenchman's mysterious diggings? Further north, the Eagle Tail Mountains offer a different story. Although not rich in gold, they did contain economically valuable manganese ore, which was mined in the 1950s. Cemetery Ridge, within these mountains, remains a place of intrigue. It's where the 3 unidentified prospectors were found and buried in the 1870s. Just west of Cemetery Ridge lies the Sheep Tanks mining district, nestled in the Little Horn Mountains. This area revealed substantial gold ore deposits, including exceptionally rich pockets discovered at different sites. The Sheep Tanks mine itself was uncovered in 1909 and became the focus of serious prospecting, particularly at the Davis Prospect, located about 5 miles east. Though many have searched and many theories have been offered, the Frenchman's lost diggings remain one of Arizona's most enduring and mysterious legends. Several thousand ounces of gold were extracted from the region, including small but exceptionally rich pockets discovered at the Davis Prospect, about 5 miles east of the Sheep Tanks mine. Farther north lie the Little Harquahala Mountains, the site of a true gold bonanza. Between 1891 and 1929, the Golden Eagle and Bonanza mines yielded over $2.5 million worth of gold ore. These veins were initially discovered in 1888, and while some have speculated they might be linked to the legendary Frenchman's gold, most experts believe otherwise. Many have searched the Eagle Tail Mountains for signs of the Frenchman's lost fortune, but only one man ever claimed to know its location. About 30 years after the Frenchmen were last seen in Yuma, a middle-aged Mexican man rode into town and hired an Indian chief named Old Bill Bear to help transport him and his supplies into the Eagle Tails. During the journey, the man shared a memory from his childhood. At age 12, he had run away from home and crossed paths with 3 men traveling with burros. They welcomed him as their camp cook, and he joined them in the mountains near a spring with running water. Every morning, the men would head out to work in the hills and return at dusk, hiding items in tin cans each evening. Curiosity eventually got the best of the young boy, and one day, he opened one of the cans, only to find it packed with gold nuggets. The next day, he secretly followed the men and discovered them about a quarter mile from camp, digging into the earth. But the men soon grew suspicious. A few days later, they asked him to leave. It took the boy 3 days and 2 nights to reach Agua Caliente, where he pleaded for a stagecoach ride back to Yuma. If you're inspired to seek out the Frenchman's lost diggings yourself, Agua Caliente, Arizona, is the place to begin. Though now little more than a quiet historic site, a dirt road, once part of the old Harquahala Freight Road, still leads north from town into the region believed to hold the hidden treasure. Another route begins in Salome, Arizona. From the center of town, you'll find Harquahala Road, which leads south to the old mining camp of Harquahala. Once a ghost town, Harquahala has been revitalized, and miners are once again pulling gold from the historic Bonanza mine. The road continues past Harquahala, eventually connecting to Interstate 10, then winds south into the Palomas Plain, just west of the Eagle Tail Mountains, another area long associated with the legend. Should you set out in search of the Frenchman's treasure, be sure to bring plenty of food, water, and a dependable vehicle. If you plan to explore south of Interstate 10 or north of Agua Caliente, a 4-wheel drive vehicle is essential. The road to Harquahala itself requires only a high-clearance vehicle, like a pickup truck. Good luck and happy hunting. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to read the original article or purchase the magazine from which it was taken, please check out our website, truetalesofburiedtreasure.com.